starting lineup for your Tolsia Rebels. We're going to bring the class people at guard, a 5'9" junior from parts unknown, number 23, at guard, a 6'1" junior from the dark parts of Mango County, number 22, Anthony Levin. At guard, a 5'9" senior from Zombie Mountain, number 20, Tyler Johnson. At guard, a 6'1" senior from Gold Creek, number 13, Rob Cantrell. At guard, a 6'1" senior from Lower Mill Creek, number 11, Austin Brown. Assistant coaches Kevin Simons and Aaron Walker. Let's get ready for some
All right, welcome inside Rebel Arena for today's new matchup between the number 9 ranked Tolsia Rebels and Huntington St. Joe. I'm Justin Prince. Alongside me is one of my students, Dustin Bailey, and working the camera for us today is Bailey Rose. This game was originally supposed to be played a couple of weeks from now, but because of COVID and some other things going on, they shifted it around, moved it to noon today here at the last minute. So we have some basketball here on Sweet 16 Saturday. St. Joe comes into the game 2-7 and coached by former Marshall basketball player Ryan Taylor. And number 21 Lane working the offense for St. Joe. Quick shot by Aram. The three ball is good and St. Joe jumps out to a 3-0 lead. Rob Cantrell had a big game last night out, 20 points, gets it over to Jesse Muncie, who's going to set up the Tulsa offense. Johnson over to Anthony Lovins, making the start today for the injured Gavin Meadows. Back to Muncie. Johnson back to Lovins. Lovins tried to get it into the middle to Austin Salmons. Instead throws the long cross-court pass, and that's batted away. Out of bounds, Tulsa will retain possession.
That's just not a pass you really want to make across the court at such a high, with such range and so slow. It's not a bad pass.
Absolutely not the kind of pass you want to make, and luckily Tulsa doesn't pay for it and ends up getting a three by Jesse Muncie out of it. And now we've got a walk called on Aram. That's going to be a turnover for St. Joe. Tyler Johnson bringing the ball up the floor for the Rebels. 3-3 tie here in the early going. Muncie inside the Cantrell. Good ball movement. Austin Salmons passed up the layup for the three from Anthony Lovins, and he knocks it down. Lovins hit 4 threes in the game against St. Joe earlier this year. That was a 60-49 Tulsa win. St. Joe a little short-handed today. Only have 5 players available. And that shot by Reynolds is way off the mark. Rebounded by Rob Cantrell. To Lovins, to Muncie, to Johnson, to Salmons. Salmons on the drive, kick back out to Johnson. Johnson over to Muncie. Back inside to Cantrell. Cantrell tried to get it over to Tyler Johnson, I think, but Austin Salmons caught it instead. Back out front for a Muncie three, and that's no good. In and out. And so far, all 3 of Tulsa's shot attempts have been threes.
Yeah. Some pretty good ball movement by Tulsa. Usually they struggle with moving the ball more, but today they seem like they're finding the open man.
That was something that Coach Maynard had really worked on after the big loss to Man a couple of nights ago before they took on Point Pleasant. And in that Point Pleasant game, Tulsa shared the ball a lot better and got out of here with a win. And they're trying to continue that for the rest of the season as St. Joe's Ignatius goes in for the tough and one, and he'll cut the lead to 1 with a chance to tie it here on the and one bucket. And Ignitus doesn't get the roll. Lovins gets the rebound, and the Rebels are off and running on offense. Johnson over to Lovins. Lovins back to Johnson. St. Joe running a 2-3 zone. Tolsia trying to get in the middle there. Tyler Johnson finally does. Pull-up's no good, and rebound by Lane. Lane drives around a Johnson screen, shoots a tough shot, but it won't go down. Gets his own rebound, can't put that in either, but gets it again, and that won't go in either. Missed 2 point-blank ones, and then St. Joe finally gets another offensive rebound and put back, and they'll take a 6-7 lead. And Dusty right there, that's just not good job on the boards by Tolsia. Gave St. Joe one too many tries at it.
Yes, they ended up having, I think, 3 tries, and the third one, it looked like he just had thrown it up and it had went in, but Tulsa is now going to be down 7-6, and they really need to tighten up the defense and get back on the boards.
Now it's 8-6 after the and one free throw is good. Tulsa back on the attack. I really look for the Rebels to try to push the pace against this short-handed Irish team. Only got 5 guys, so conditioning will come into play as this game wears on. Levi Watts with a quick 3. That's no good. But good offensive board by Rob Cantrell. He's going to pull up for the mid-range jumper and knocks it down, ties things up at all 8. It's also applying a little pressure now. St. Joe works it up the floor. 3 from the corner is no good. Austin Salmons with the rebound. And Jesse Muncie will push the pace. Tyler Johnson back out to Muncie. Muncie back out front to Salmons. Over to Watts. Inside to Cantrell. Back to Salmons. And there's that ball movement you were talking about. Got a good shot out of it. Just didn't get it to go down. And St. Joe will clear. Lane triggering the offense for the Rebels. Tulsa appears to also be playing a zone, but man, Lane with a deep 3, or Aram, excuse me, with a deep 3, and St. Joe's up 11-8 here at 4:02 to go in the first quarter. And if you're Coach Todd Maynard, not the way you wanted to start this one out.
Really need to tighten up the defense and just.
Aram, you know, he came in here with 2 quick 3s, got 6 of the 11 points for St. Joe already, and you know he's one of the better players on this St. Joe team, especially offensively, and he's certainly leading the charge so far today.
It seems like he's just finding a way to get open and shoot the 3 ball.
Yeah, Tulsa's going to have to close out on those St. Joe shooters, and again, on offense, I really think they need to try to push the pace. But you got to get stops to be able to do that. Otherwise, St. Joe has plenty of time to get down and set up their zone defense.
Yes. If they can get into a fast break and just keep the tempo up, they should be able to wear out a short-handed St. Joe team.
Absolutely. So 4:02 here in the first. If you're just joining us, it's 11-8. St. Joe Irish out of Huntington leading the Tulsa Rebels 11-8. And Muncie will trigger the inbounds to Johnson as the Rebels bring it up the floor. Johnson to Cantrell. Cantrell back to Johnson. Johnson on a drive, gets in the middle of the lane, slips, kicks it back out to Cantrell. And Cantrell continuing the hot shooting from the other night. That's his 2nd bucket. And Rebels cut the lead to 1.
And that's where Cantrell is at his best, just dribbling and pulling up from either the corner or in the mid-range.
And Salmons gets a steal and gets it to Muncie, and now the Rebels have a chance to take the lead. Three by Muncie on the way, short, no good. Rebound by Bias for St. Joe. Lane on the drive, pull up from just inside the foul line. That's too strong, won't go. Salmons rebounds for the Rebels. Muncie to Johnson, back to Muncie. Back to Johnson, back to Muncie, back to Johnson, just playing a little hot potato. Levi Watts gets it into Austin Salmons. Back to Levi Watts. Out to Muncie for a 3, and that's no good. So Muncie's now 1 for 4 from 3-point range and just can't seem to find it. Lane back on the attack for the Irish. Rob Cantrell gets a hand on it, makes him pick up his dribble. Iram now has it for St. Joe. And he's looking for that screen. Tyler Johnson rips it away, and that's going to be a layup for Johnson. Iram tried to get the chase down, couldn't quite do it, and the Rebels take a 12-11 lead. Lane working it up the floor. Tough shot again from Lane and can't get it to go. Austin Salmons gets the rebound and Jesse Muncie is running. To Johnson. Johnson thought about the 3, going to drive instead and give it to Cantrell in that short corner. And there's another bucket for Cantrell. He's 3 for 3, and he has 6 of the Rebels' 14 here with 1:44 to go in the first quarter.
It looks like Tulsa's starting to raise the tempo a little more, run the floor.
Iram on the drive, lots of contact there, and they're going to give him an and 1 for that.
Basket good by Aaron.
I guess we're giving NBA continuation here today, Dusty Bailey. That looked like it should have been on the floor to me, but as it stands, that'll be a and 1, and Aaron will go to the line to shoot 1 for St. Joe to try to tie this thing up at 14.
I believe it should have been a charge, but I guess me and the ref just seen it 2 different ways.
And instead of a charge or even on the floor, it ends up being a 4-point possession for St. Joe as the Irish take the lead 15-14. Muncie gets it to Salmons. Salmons, short shot, gets the shooter's roll, and Tolsia now back on top in this frenzied first quarter. Iram. Nice crossover move and good pass over to Bias, who can't get the shot to go. And Johnson's got a slashing Cantrell that was open for what could have been a layup, but throws it a little too far out of bounds. Turnover Tulsa. Lane running the point now for St. Joe, working against Rob Cantrell. Crossover, and he attacks the lane, gets it out to Iram. He's hit a couple from that spot earlier today. Nice speed inside, but another missed layup, and that's a couple of assists that St. Joe's just kind of blew for Iram. Nice pass by Jesse Muncie, and Rob Cantrell will be the benefactor there. He puts that in. He's got 8 of the Tulsa 18. 18-15, Tulsa lead with under 12 to go, 12 seconds to go here in this first quarter. Iram working against Johnson, spin move, tough shot, puts it up, no good, but follows, gets his own rebound and puts it in, and St. Joe will end the quarter with that bucket, but they trail 18-17 after 1 here in Glen Hayes. And in this quiet gym, you can hear Coach Todd Maynard really getting into his guys about their lack of effort on the boards. And we already talked about it, Dusty Bailey. They've not done a good job boxing St. Joe out, and they've got probably 8 or 9 trash points because of it.
Yeah, on that last possession of that quarter, the guy had a tough shot. They had people to rebound, didn't get the rebound. He grabs it and puts back up a shot and scores to end that first quarter.
So we'll see if the Rebels, who did decently offensively in that quarter, can do any better on the glass in the second quarter and start to pull away a little bit from this Fighting Irish team. Muncie triggers into Johnson. Johnson over to Muncie. Back to Johnson. Over to Levi Watts. Muncie trying to get the ball into Cantrell, looking for him, wasn't open. He'll shoot this three, and that's good. That's Muncie's second three-pointer of the ball game. 21-17, Tulsa lead. Lane working against Cantrell, gets a bias screen. Now he's working against Sammons. Tough shot, would have been a nice pass, but 0-0 wasn't quite ready for it. And now Johnson will run the fast break for the Rebels. And he just got caught up in too much traffic. Forces a jump ball for St. Joe, and they'll get the possession. Aram brings the ball up the floor for the Fighting Irish. Inside the lane, Lane, strong move, up and good over top of Austin Sammons. 21-19, Tulsa clinging to a 2-point lead with 7 minutes to play in the second quarter. Levi Watts, back to Muncie, over to Johnson, over to Cantrell, back out front to Muncie. To Watts, inside to Sammons. Sammons pass over to Cantrell. Great ball movement right there by the Rebels, and Cantrell's already in double figures here early in the second quarter. Lane, nice feed over to Bias. Bias probably should have used the glass, and Lane, or Aram, excuse me, should have 3 assists right now, and St. Joe's just blown layups for him. Watts in over to Cantrell. Sounded like some contact there, no call. Going to be off of St. Joe though. Tulsa will retain possession. Muncie into Watts. Watts over to Johnson, into Sammons. Sammons trying to find Cantrell there, cutting under the basket. That's the mismatch, but Muncie will try a 3. That's in and out, no good. Rebounded by Aram. Muncie now 2 for 6 from the three-point line. And Aram is going to get fouled by Johnson on the floor, however. And right now, Tyler Johnson's really having a hard time staying in front of him.
Yeah, he is. It seems like
Aram
is shooting the ball well and finding people well, but St. Joe have just blown some layups, or he would be having a pretty good game.
Absolutely, and he does have a really quick first step, a nice little crossover dribble. He's probably the most athletic player on this St. Joe team, and you can see now Tulsa's made a switch, and they put Jesse Muncie over on him, and Lane gets to the end of the lane and gets an easy layup there. Tulsa tried to get a run out, but good hustle back by St. Joe. They stopped the Jesse Muncie layup as Tulsa resets their offense. That's going to be off of St. Joe, out of bounds. So Johnson has been moved off Aram on the defensive end. He's now guarding Bias, and Muncie will guard Aram, see if he can't stay in front of him a little better as the Rebels try to get something going here on the offensive end of the floor. There's Rob Cantrell. They're really closing out on him hard after he hit for 8 in the first quarter, 10 for the game. Back out to Watts, over to Muncie. Johnson on the drive. Back out to Cantrell. Cantrell try a 3, and why not? Everything else is going in. And just like he did against Point Pleasant, Cantrell is really filling it up here in the early going. 13 points for the senior. 26-21, Tulsa lead.
He certainly has a hot hand right now.
Aram, back to Lane. Lane working against Cantrell. Nice crossover move of his own. That shot is up and good. And that was a pretty little move to stop on a dime and create that separation. Johnson on attack on the other end, and he's going to get a foul on Aram and go to the line to shoot 2.
Foul number 5 of St. Joe.
And that's St. Joe's first team foul of the ball game here with 4:38 to go in the second quarter.
Shot line shooting 2 shots. Number 20, Tyler Johnson.
It seems as though that St. Joe team is starting to wear down a little bit with them being so short-handed. And Tulsa really needs to emphasize that to keep it in transition and wear them down.
Absolutely, and you can really start to see that take shape there in the second half, most likely, Dusty. And Tulsa gets 1 of 2 at the line there, takes a 4-point lead, 27-23 here in the second quarter. Lane. Over to Reynolds. Reynolds tried to get it to Iram. Nice play by Tyler Johnson, who hustles over, gets the steal, and then has the wherewithal to throw it off of Iram. St. Joe turnover, and Tulsa will get the basketball to try to add to a 4-point lead. Johnson over to Cantrell, back to Johnson. Levi Watts. Muncie to Salmons. Back to Johnson. Johnson stop, pop too strong, way too hard. And that's going to be out of bounds off of Levi Watts. St. Joe basketball. Iram bringing it up the floor for the Irish. Screen set by Ignitus. But Iram doesn't use it. Now he's picked up his dribble, gets it over to Ignitus. Ignitus against Muncie. Trying to get by him, he can't, but he's going to shoot over top of him, and it's no good. Muncie with the rebound, and he's going to take it all the way himself. Threw up a wild layup. The body control there to be able to get that shot to go down was fantastic. And Muncie now has 8 of his own to go with Cantrell's 13 to lead the way for the Rebels, who now lead 29-23 with 3:33 in the second quarter.
It seems like every time the Tulsa has had that timeout and Todd Maynard told them to rebound the ball, they've really been getting better on the boards and working in transition on more often, and they just look better as a whole.
I agree. They definitely hit the boards a little harder since then. Defense has looked a little better since then. You know, it's just a 6-point lead, but it feels like at any point Tulsa could blow this one open. Iram will walk the ball up the floor for the Irish. Over to Lane. Lane cleared out for him as he can try to go against Cantrell. Gives it up to Iram. Iram, tough 3. That's too hard, no good. Cantrell gets the rebound for Tulsa. And Johnson will run it up the floor to Salmons. Back to Johnson. Johnson gets in the middle over to Salmons. Stop and pop. That's good. And Austin Salmons has his second bucket of the game. Tulsa now up 8. Cantrell playing great defense. Iram, a deep 3. That's short, no good. Probably not the shot Ryan Taylor's team wanted there, but nonetheless, it's the shot they got. Jesse Muncie, tough drive. Ball movement there gives Salmons an open 3, and Salmons, despite being Tulsa's 5-man, can knock down that shot, just doesn't do it there, and St. Joe will clear. Iram gets a screen, gets it to the corner to Reynolds. Reynolds on a drive, tough shot of his own. Ignitus gets a rebound, tries to put it up, but can't finish, and Muncie is going to head a fast break for the Rebels. Nice pass into Cantrell, and he's going to be fouled, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2. You know, that was a good heads-up play by Jesse Muncie there. At some points during the course of this season, he has went ahead and took that on his own 1-on-3, and instead that time he slams on the brakes, lets a teammate get caught up with him, and leads to a foul. And the free throw is the first thing Cantrell's missed all night. Or all day. It is noon. Tip today. Early start. Cantrell. Second one is up and good. He's got 14 here in the first half. 32-23. Tulsa leads by 9. 2:03 to go in the second quarter. Lane has the ball stolen by Jesse Muncie. He will take this one by himself as he's all alone. Lays it in and good. And now Muncie's in double figures. 10 for him. Tulsa up by 11. Ignitus. Nice drive there as Muncie tried the old Olay to try to back tap it. Tulsa up 9, minute 30 to left. Tyler Johnson, usually pretty accurate on that little mid-range floater, can't get it to go today. And Austin Salmons, though, cleans up the miss and gets the putback for the Rebels. At 6 for him, he'll go to the line to try to add to this Tulsa lead and to his point total for the night. And Salmons does. 37-25. Tulsa lead with under 90 seconds to play in the half. Aram around the screen. Tulsa switches it off, and we're going to get a double dribble there. And Ryan Taylor is upset on the sidelines there, and I think he might have a little bit of a gripe. I thought that that ball was tipped by a Tulsa player, which would have allowed him to dribble again, but the refs didn't see it that way. Instead, it's a turnover on the Irish. Tulsa working it around the three-point line. Over to Muncie. Muncie back to Johnson. Johnson into a double team, kicks it back out to Muncie. Muncie's going to penetrate the defense, stop and pop. In and out, no good, looked good. Salmon's working hard to get a rebound out to Cantrell, who is no good as well, and St. Joe finally clears out the board, and Aram will walk it up with 37 seconds to play in the half. Aram to Lane. Lane. Back to Aram. Aram on the drive, reverse layup, no good again. He wanted some contact, not going to get it. Nice feed by Tyler Johnson to Jesse Muncie. And that's how you run a fast break. Then Jesse Muncie gets his hands on the basketball. He's going to shoot a deep three. That's in and out, no good. 5 seconds left here in the quarter. Stolen again by Muncie. He's going to shoot one from his knees and actually got it closer to going in than you would ever imagine somebody could get from half court on their knees, Dusty Bailey.
I feel like if I would have shot that, it would have maybe made it to the three-point line, but that actually, for a second, had a chance. It looked like it was going in.
And so that'll be halftime, 39-25. I'm not sure that Muncie shot, even if it would have came closer or went in. I'm not sure it was off before the buzzer anyway. But pretty good half for the Rebels after a rough start early on the boards. And St. Joe will go in down 14 here in Rebel Arena. We're going to take a quick break. We'll leave you right here on Glen Hayes Entertainment. We're going to go get a drink and come back for the second half of Rebel basketball. All right, welcome back inside Rebel Arena here for second half action between your Tulsa Rebels and the St. Joe Fighting Irish. Once again, I'm Justin Prince, joined with one of my students, Dusty Bailey and Bailey Rose, on the camera for us today, bringing you this high school basketball action. Tulsa currently leads 39-25, and we'll start the second half with the basketball. St. Joe playing with just 5 players today, a little bit undermanned. So I'm sure they were thankful for that halftime to get a little bit of a breather. Johnson over to Muncie, back to Johnson, over to Lovins. Lovins over to Cantrell. Cantrell is fouled by Bias.
Foul number 33 of St. Joe, Nick Bias.
Cantrell really was the catalyst for the Rebels on offense in that first half. 14 points for him at the break. Back to Anthony Lovins. Over to Muncie. Muncie into Cantrell. Cantrell back out to Muncie for 3. No good. Austin Salmons tried to put up the one-handed rebound and putback and was too strong with it. And so it'll be out of bounds. St. Joe basketball with 7:33 to go here in the third. Iram into Lane. Lane working against Cantrell. Up and under move, no good. Salmons with the rebound. And the Rebels are off and running. Over to Johnson. Johnson inside, stop, pop. And he finally gets that little shot to go. That's usually his bread and butter, but today he hadn't been able to find it until just now. 41-25 Tulsa lead. Lane against Salmons. That shot short. Johnson pushing the pace for the Rebels. Spin move, loses the ball out of bounds, or not out of bounds, but into the hands of St. Joe. And we're going to get a charge call against the Irish right there. Kermit's finest, Bob Sparks, on the call there. And Tyler Johnson will trigger the offense for the Rebels. Muncie on the attack, back out to Cantrell. Over to Lovins. Lovins over to Muncie. Muncie thought about the 3, doesn't take it. Back to Johnson. Johnson out to Lovins. Lovins into Salmons. Back to Lovins. Back to Muncie. Tulsa really working the ball around, trying to get a good shot. They do get one, but Salmons comes up a little short. Decent defense by Bias to come over and make that shot a little tougher on Salmons, but that's one Salmons has to finish. And then on the other end, Iram goes on the attack and draws the foul on Salmons. So not a great sequence of basketball from Austin Salmons there. Misses the bunny on one end and then gets a foul on the other. Iram's free throw is up and good. Cuts into the St. Joe deficit a bit. Second shot is good. 41-27. Tulsa leads. Muncie for 3 again, and that's good. That's his third 3 of the game.
That's as good of a look as you can get coming out of halftime. Their last possession came off a little off because Austin Salmons had missed the layup that needed to be a finish, but that's a great way to come back off of it.
Absolutely. Iram's 3's no good. Muncie pushes the pace into Rob Cantrell on the break. And Ryan Taylor will want a quick timeout for St. Joe. Tulsa now up 19 here in Rebel Arena with 5:34 to play in the third quarter. Muncie's got 13 and Cantrell has 16 to lead the way for the Rebels.
And it seems like Cantrell started off very hot, but since then they have started to really close out on him, and he's slowly cooled off a little bit.
Absolutely, and it's kind of opened up things for other players. Tyler Johnson's got involved a little bit. Austin Salmons has 7 right now as it stands, and it's been a team effort today. I think everybody who has played except for Levi Watt so far has scored a bucket for the Rebels.
And it seems like that St. Joe team is really starting to wear down with them being so short-handed. None of them are getting really rest other than during a timeout. So we'll see how that goes for the rest of the game.
Yeah, and I think you're seeing Taylor use some of those timeouts sometimes just simply to get his guys a blow and allow them to catch their breath a little bit, because, again, they're only playing with 5 guys. There's no subs. And Tulsa obviously has their full team available, but even then, Tulsa is not a deep team. They play about 7 deep usually, and they're down to less than that right now with both Gavin Meadows and Stephen Ward out with injuries. Lane will inbounds for St. Joe. And Aram will walk it up. Around the lane screen, he rolled to the basket, was open briefly, but Muncie recovered nicely. No help defense there by Lovins, and he gets a bucket, and Lane is not having a bad game for St. Joe. And then Jesse Muncie drives a little wild and out of control. He hasn't done that much today, but he does it right there. That leads to the Tulsa turnover, and St. Joe will try to trim into this Tulsa lead and get it in under 15. Aram around a lane screen again. He takes it by himself all the way to the cup and lays it in. 46-31, Tulsa's lead. Lovins thought about a 3, doesn't take it. Johnson, Lovins will take that 3, and that's too hard, no good. Rebound by Lane. And he's going to slow things up and get it over to Aram. Aram, nice pass, but Reynolds wasn't quite ready for it. That's going to go out of bounds, turnover. Ball goes to Tulsa. Johnson bringing it up the floor for the Rebels. Over to Muncie. Muncie into that short corner to Cantrell. Cantrell, nice pass to Salmons. And Salmons finishes that one. And that was a much harder shot than the one he missed a couple of trips ago.
But it seems like Tulsa has really picked up their ball movement. It's looked very great, very good tonight. And they've been emphasizing the playing in transition since around the second quarter. The first quarter they had a little bit of struggle, but since then they've been running the floor a lot more.
And Ryan Taylor wanted a foul on his shooter there. Probably should have got one, doesn't there. And Tulsa misses a 3 of their own on that trip down the floor, and Aram is going to be on the attack for the Rebels. That's going to be a foul on Jesse Muncie and one. Another NBA type continuation. They've been giving that all day though, and Aram will go to the line to shoot 1 to try to convert the old-fashioned 3-point play.
Aram, basket good. He'll shoot 1 shot.
48-33, Rebels lead here at Rebel Arena. Shots up, no good, short. Rebound by Lane, but they're going to say he was over Austin Salmons' back, and that was a good job by Salmons to box out to get that call.
This first, team third.
Johnson walking it up for Tulsa. Gets it over to Lovins, over to Cantrell. Cantrell trying to get it into Salmons. Good defense by Lane there to deny. Johnson over to Jesse. Muncie will dribble it back out front and reset the Tulsa offense. Johnson, nice feed inside to Cantrell, back out to Muncie. Muncie fakes the 3, goes in for the shorter 2. That's off the front of the rim, no good. Rebounded by Lane. Lane gets into the lane and gets another and one, blocking foul on Salmons.
Foul on number 11, Austin.
And Lane will try to complete a 3-point play this time.
Team third.
48-35, Tulsa's 19-point lead has been trimmed down to 13 with a chance to get it to 12. And that's good. It's just a 12-point ball game now. Johnson. Nice. drive and great idea, just can't get the pass to get there. Good hands by the St. Joe defense. Ball will stay with the Rebels. Johnson triggers the inbounds. Gets it into Salmons. Salmons trying to create some space and go up for it. Kicks it out to Lovins. Lovins thought about the three. Instead, he'll drive. Get it over to Muncie. Muncie gets it to Johnson. Johnson, little 8-footer is good. And he's got 6 in the ball game. 50-36 Tulsa lead. Lane to Eram. Eram around the screen. Spin move, tough shot, good move. He's a good looking player. 50-38, Tulsa's lead back to 12. Muncie to Johnson, Johnson to Lovins in the corner. That's what he's there for, and he knocks down the 3 on cue. 53-38, Tulsa lead. That's Lovins' second 3 of the ball game. He's got 6 as well. Lane on the attack. Pushing the issue, another and one. And if you're Tulsa, Coach Todd Maynard, you got to be sick of seeing these and ones. If you're going to foul, you got to foul to where they can't get that shot up and get bonus shots at the line. Lane. Free throw's no good. Comes up short. That's going to be out of bounds off of Rob Cantrell. Tulsa St. Joe basketball.
It seems like a lot of the second half has been played at the foul line for St. Joe.
And then that pass is quickly stolen by Tyler Johnson. Good hands, gets it up to Rob Cantrell. Cantrell almost has it stolen, but regathers and lays it in. He's got 18 to lead the way for the Rebels. 55-40 with 1:51 to go here in the third period. Eram. Back out the lane. Lane trying to set up the offense. Tulsa being patient on defense, and Lane just gets to the cup with ease. 55-42. Johnson tried to drive there, gets tied up. Arrow is with the Rebels though, so Tulsa will keep the ball. Lovins over to Cantrell. Tries to set a screen. Cantrell doesn't take it. Gets it over to Johnson. Johnson for 3. That's too hard, no good. Bias rebounds and gets it to Eram. Muncie all over. Eram takes it from the cookie jar and lays it in. 57-42, Tulsa lead. That was just great individual defense by Jesse Muncie, but Eram back on the attack. Not the type of player to get discouraged by a turnover. Lane into Bias. Bias struggles to handle it. Eram, long 3. That shot was a little off. And Muncie will pop and pull a 3 of his own. That's no good. And I think St. Joe will try to play for the final shot of the third period. Trailing by 15 with 12 seconds to go in the third. Lane looking for a drive. Gets it inside. That's blocked by Lovins. Bias gets a rebound. Throws up one. And that's going to be a foul on Lovins. And Bias will go to the line to shoot 2 with 1.6 seconds to go.
Team fifth at the line for St. Joe. Nick Bias shooting 2.
Bias's first one is up and no good. Second one is true. 14-point Tulsa lead, just 1 second left. Tyler Johnson heaves a full court shot, and that is no good. And after 3, Tulsa leads 57-43 here in Rebel Arena. And we're going to take this time to bring you a little message here about Rebel Roundup, a car and bike show and swap meet taking place Sunday, April 11th, 2 to 5 p.m. at the Tri-River Dragway. That's 67 Route 52 in Fort Gay, West Virginia. It's $5 admission. Concession will be available, and all proceeds will benefit the Tulsa High School prom for 2021. This is a prom that is not being sanctioned by the school because of COVID, so get out there and support, because this is the only way these kids will be able to have a prom. Again, that's the Rebel Roundup at Car and Bike Show, Sunday, April 11th, 2 to 5 p.m. Cost is $5, and all proceeds will go to the Tulsa High School prom. So Dusty Bailey, after 3 quarters, after St. Joe really hung with the Rebels through the first one, Tulsa has used these last 2 to pull away, and they've opened up a 14-point lead here over the Irish.
It seemed like last quarter St. Joe was going to pull the lead in a little closer, and they just ended up not doing that, and Tulsa still holds a 14-point lead. And staying around the double digits in the fourth quarter is very hard to come back from.
Absolutely. Time is definitely not on the Irish's side, but they will start the fourth quarter with the basketball. And remember to stay tuned following this basketball game. We'll have a post-game press conference with Coach Todd Maynard and a couple of the Rebel players as Iram looks to set up the St. Joe offense. Iram over to Lane. Lane back to Iram. Iram over to Reynolds in the corner. Reynolds trying to drive around Levi Watts. Tough shot off the front of the rim, no good. And Austin Salmons will get it up the floor to Jesse Muncie. Jesse Muncie back out front to Johnson, back to Lovins. Lovins back over to Johnson to Muncie. Muncie with a little fancy pass and good ball movement buried by the Rebels. It's going to be an open 3 for Anthony Lovins. And that's exactly the shot you want to get on that kind of ball movement. Lovins just couldn't knock it down. And Reynolds will be on the attack for St. Joe, but he's off the mark, and Johnson gets the rebound and is on the run. Johnson going to take it himself, and Lane says, no, you're not, and rejects that one without even jumping. Muncie will trigger the inbounds for the Rebels. Johnson, stop, pop, and that's good.
And it seems as though ever since they have flipped rims, Tyler Johnston has been much better offensively, and he's been knocking down more shots and getting more open looks.
Absolutely. That 8 to 12-foot jumper he couldn't get to go in the first half. He's got it to go 3 or 4 times here in the second half, and really has played much better offensively, as you mentioned, Dusty. Johnson will walk it up for Tulsa. Muncie in the corner. Gets it over to Johnson. Johnson over to Lovins to Cantrell in the corner. Back to Lovins. Lovins back to Johnson. Back to Muncie. Good ball movement as Cantrell works it around. I don't know if you guys could hear that, but the ball movement, every pass, Todd Maynard was saying yes, yes, because he was loving the ball movement by his team. And then when Salmons, missed the little floater in the lane, he screamed no, and that got a slight chuckle out of the audience and almost cracked me up as well, as St. Joe will take the basketball out of bounds near half court. Lane working against Lovins, gets it back over to Iram. Iram back to Lane. Lane thought about driving, gets it back to Iram. Iram will drive, good move, and gets a tough shot to fall. I don't know how many he's got, but he's definitely in double figures for St. Joe. Back to Muncie. Muncie will take a 3, try to get his 4th one of the game, and that's good. 62-45. Muncie finally starting to find the stroke from outside. He's had a hard time with it this year, but does have 4 threes in this ball game. Lane. Back to Reynolds. Back to Lane. 5:14 to play. Tulsa up 62 to 45. Iram drives around flat-footed Muncie. He pulls up, airballs it from the short corner. Think he expected some defense there. It didn't come. Reynolds shots off the mark, and Salmons rebounds, and he throws one up ahead to Muncie. Muncie Irams and misses the layup. Probably should have just pulled that one back out, but St. Joe throws it away. So Muncie and Cantrell lead the way for the Rebels with 18 apiece. Lovins with the ball currently has 6. Muncie thought about another 3, gets it into Salmons, and Salmons gets hit hard by Bias, and he'll go to the line to shoot 2.
Foul number 33 on St. Joe, Nick Bias. His 13-4.
And in fact, they're going to say no shots. They're going to call that on the floor. Salmons definitely thought he was shooting, but the referees say on the floor, and Tulsa will take the ball out of bounds here, leading 62 to 45. Jesse Muncie gets it into Cantrell. Over to Lovins. Lovins back to Johnson. Johnson drives, kick out to Muncie. Muncie, 5th 3 of the game is up and good. Give Muncie 21 for the night, and timeout Ryan Taylor as Tulsa opens up a 20-point lead here in the 4th quarter. 4:21 to play. Tulsa 65, St. Joe 45. And as we expected, Dusty Bailey, Tulsa has opened this thing up as the game has went along. And, you know, that's something we talked about when the game started, with St. Joe only having 5 guys. As the game ticked on, would they start to lose their legs a little bit, get a little tired, and lose some energy? And I think that's came true, and that's part of the reason why Tulsa's been able to pull away and get up by 20.
It seemed around in the second quarter they had started to lose a little bit in the gas tank. And ever since then, Tulsa's really just been pulling away, and it hasn't been within 10 points, I don't think, since then.
No, I think the closest that they got it down to was 12 a couple of times there in the 3rd quarter. Just couldn't get any closer than that for Ryan Taylor's ball club. And Tulsa's going to try to close out these last 4 minutes and 21 seconds and get out of Rebel Arena and move into 7-2 on the season. The only losses for the Rebels to number 1 ranked Man, and at the time Tug Valley, who was ranked 2. Tulsa will see Tug Valley again next month, and we'll probably see Man maybe possibly in the sectionals.
I would say in sectionals they will eventually run into one of the 2, and so they will get their chance to come back on them, and just have to wait and see how that goes.
Absolutely. Reynolds, tough shot from the corner that's nowhere near anything. And Muncie's going to slow it down for the Rebels. Well, he thought about slowing it down, then he tried to throw a bullet inside, but it wasn't there. And then Aram throws a bullet of his own and gets it inside the 0-0, who lays it in. Salmons driving in on Bias. And he's going to walk right there as he thought about handing it off to Muncie, who was slashing in, but Muncie wasn't ready for the basketball. One of the few Tulsa turnovers of the second half. They've been taking care of the ball very well today. Aram out front for St. Joe, working against Johnson, gets it into Reynolds, who's working against Cantrell. Good defense by Cantrell, blocks Reynolds, but it will be off of Cantrell. St. Joe basketball. Into Bias. Bias passes it off the lane, who shoots a 3 and gets it to go. Lead cut back to 15, 65-50. Johnson. Nice pass into Cantrell, who can't get that to go, but he will go to the line to shoot 2 to try to get to that 20-point mark for the second ball game in a row.
is first, team fifth. At the line, shooting 2 shots for Tulsa, Rob Cantrell.
Cantrell dribbles. First is up and no good. 2:59 to play in the fourth. Tulsa up 15. Second free throw is good. That gives Cantrell 19 in the ball game. 2:56 to play, 66-50, Tulsa lead. Lane. Ignitus for 3. That's off the front of the rim, no good. Rebound by Cantrell over to Muncie. Muncie will set up the Tulsa offense. And I expect the Rebels to try to run a little bit of clock here and get a good shot. Lovins with the basketball now. Gives it over to Johnson. Johnson attacks, gets in that 8-foot range. Floater is good. That gives Johnson double figures for the ball game as well. 68-50 Tulsa lead. Bias screens for Iram. Iram, tough shot, almost gets it to go, but Reynolds can't quite handle the rebound. That'll be out of bounds off of the Irish. Rebel basketball with 2:04 to play and an 18-point Tulsa advantage. Muncie walks it up the floor. Again, they're content just to run some clock here. Up 18 with under 2 minutes to play. Johnson stops, pops, money again. And like you said, Dusty, ever since they flipped ends of the floor, this rim has been a lot more kind to Tyler Johnson on that 8 to 12-foot floater.
It seems as he's just been able to get a lot more looks in his favor as Aaron knocks down a deep 3.
That was real deep from the white line, 70-53. Tulsa leads with under 90 seconds to play. Johnson kicks it out to Cantrell for 3. Too strong, no good. Another one of Cantrell's few misses of the ball game. Iram over to Lane in the corner. Lane shoots a 3. Weird hitch in his shot there. That causes it to be off, and Johnson will bring it up the floor for the Tulsa Rebels with under a minute to play. Johnson behind the back, creates a little separation, and then gets it back out to Cantrell, who holds it for a moment until Muncie comes and gets it. Lovins to Johnson. Johnson attacks Lane and gets his shot rejected by Lane. Once again, Lane does that without jumping. Probably should have pump faked there, got the big fella in the air. Would have had a better shot at laying that one in. Instead, it's going to be Tulsa basketball out of bounds. Muncie, nice pass into Salmons. You can hear Coach Maynard telling his guys, no need to take a shot here. You've got the 17-point lead with 27 seconds left. Just let the clock run out and get out of Rebel Arena with the 17-point lead win. Muncie drove in there, really wanted to shoot that, and he heard Coach Maynard yell no at the last second, so he tosses it back out. He knew if he would have shot that, went up with it, that would have been some running in practice.
Oh, absolutely.
And Tulsa's going to win here at Rebel Arena to improve to 7-2 on the season. 70-53 win over the Fighting Irish of St. Joe from Huntington, West Virginia. Stay tuned here on Glenn Hayes Entertainment. After this, we'll have the post-game press conference where we'll talk to Coach Maynard and a couple of his players. Once again, I'm Justin Prince. Along with me was Dusty Bailey and Bailey Rose, giving up their Saturday to bring you some Tulsa basketball. So we want to thank them, and we'll see you in just a minute in the post-game press conference. Thanks for watching.